as the mayor turns and kicks the front door in of the greenback and cash in hand merchant house, which is also the sort of townhouse where Ebenezer Greenback and his daughter, who is not his daughter, but is in fact Nick's daughter, live. And you all seem to be walking into a party. So, we will leave the misty, foggy courtyard of the Greenback and Cash in Hand estate and move into the foyer, which is very well appointed. Nice wooden floors, well-polished, ornate rug in the middle, and the entire house sounds like people making merry, festive. There is the clatter of silverware. There is laughter. There is the smell of mulled wine, roasting meats, all the sort of niceties that you would expect of the wealthiest people in town. And if you are following the mayor, he is just storming in. He has his sights set on a particular door, and he is heading through without any... Like, the fact that you are here has registered to him, but he seems to be a man on a mission at this point.
Lovely. Well, we also have a mission, and it involves him, so what say we go?
The servants that heard the door crash have sort of come into the foyer, and they see the mayor looking like he's about to murder someone. They see all of you equally deadly looking, and they just sort of back through the doors that they just came in. They want absolutely no part of whatever this is about to be. The mayor throws open the door that he is heading through, and you hear the sound of voices, which was muffled before, like, really roar into existence. And you come into a ballroom, like a legit old ballroom with dozens of people in it. On the far side of the room from the door, there's a whole buffet, behind which there is a Heartland's pine tree that has been all festooned with various garlands and lights. It's the solstice, after all. This is what the Yankees celebrate this time of year. They don't care about Nick's Day, but they have their own traditions. Everyone in this room is not from Milton. These are the Heartland's elite that have sort of glommed onto the Greenback and Cash in Hand merchant house. The thing about the Yankees is that they're not ostentatious, except insofar as quality of fabric and cut. So while they're wearing clothing that you might consider to be almost dour, it is of exquisite make. That is how they show off. It's not gold, it's not embroidery, it's well-cut clothes of material that only they can afford. And as you walk in, there's a sort of murmur, but someone is speaking. And there is a balcony to your as you come in, where I don't know that any of you have actually met Ebenezer Greenback in life, but he was a big man, but he's in his 70s now. He's sort of shrunk down a little bit. He's a little hunched over. He, like all of them, are wearing a powdered colonial wig. His is kind of in not great shape. It's a little askew. His clothes, he's doing the I don't really care about fashion, so I'm going to wear whatever I want. Does it have a stain? Who cares? I'm so rich, it doesn't matter. And as you come in, you hear him say, "There are those amongst you who have asked me, why are we here among these terrible, filthy pirates? And I tell you, we do not do these things because they are easy. We do these things because they make us a lot of money." And there's applause and here. And he looks around. Now I am an old man. I am tired, so I will leave you with this piece of advice from our great founding father, John Fitzgerald Kennedy. Ask not what you can do for your country. Ask what your country can do for you. And there's more clapping, and he sort of gives everyone a very stern wave and swishes back. And then the mayor is like in the door, and everyone there's the hubbub.
I'm gonna grab a drink.
Oh, there are plenty of them, and people
Yeah.
as you like approach the drinks, you're given plenty of space.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of are they supposed to be here, or are we allowed to? Do we say something, or surely the guards would have stopped them, I would think. And
Uh-huh. And I think Santi fully takes off his glasses because he's going for full effect. Since we're here now, we're trying to
yeah.
make a statement.
Mm.
So one of his eyes is, like a very nice, beautiful, like sea green. And the other one is like ice white.
There is a
And
gasp.
when it looks like when that eye is focused directly on you, it's as if he's peering into your soul. And he is turning that gaze towards anybody who even mentions their presence.
The voice is quiet very quickly. There is the dropping of glasses and backing away. There is, in fact, only one person, apart from the mayor, in this whole room who does not take your presence as something to be scared of or affronted. And it is a younger woman in her mid-20s. Darker skin, long brown hair, almost black, very curly, exceptionally beautiful. And all of you have heard of Eliza Greenback and how she is the jewel of this society. And she does the good hostess thing and says, "We have more guests. Please. There's no reason to be rude. Come in. Would you like drink, food?"
Much appreciated.
While all of this is happening, Thomas is really good at being invisible, kind of blending in. I would like to kind of just disappear into the crowd that has backed away and kind of look for a vantage point. I want to try and get up maybe high or at least higher just to get a good view on the whole room.
So there are balconies. There's the balcony that Greenback was on, and there's one directly across from it. There are like long drapes. You could conceivably scamper up one if you.
I would like to do that.
We'll say the one that Greenback was across from. Could you make me a stunt roll to get up there?
That's a 12.
That's exactly what you needed.
Awesome.
So you clamber up the drape, you get a good vantage point, and you can see that there are little clusters of people. Like once you have a sort of elevated view, you can see that they're all there's quite a bit of space around you, except for Eliza, who is coming forward to speak with the rest of you. The mayor, as she is offering hospitality, is like, "Not now! Where is your father? I need to speak to him." Greenback! Greenback, you old piece of slime! Get back out here! And there is more. My God. By the founders! But he's just shouting. Eliza almost seems to be ignoring him at this point. It's like, so is there something we can help you with?
Artemisia is immediately going to step back into whatever counts as a shadow in this room. I assume it's well lit because it's like a party and there's
Very
fires
well
going, but
Yep.
she will just immediately step back. She's not disengaging, but she's just staring almost hungrily at her daughter that she hasn't seen in more than 20 years. And is there some kind of roll I can make to see if she has my nose
You don't even need to roll. Absolutely.
and her father's eyes?
Yes.
And Artemisia just goes completely silent.
I would also like to note that I'm like on my stomach,
Okay.
just watching all of this. I'm specifically like keeping an eye on the crew. Like the moment any one of them appears in danger, I'm acting.
Okay.
Captain's priority, but I am paying attention to everyone. My cutlass is in one hand and my flintlock is in the other. And I am just like almost like army crawling to the side to keep an eye on everyone.
Jake is also dipping into the crowd, but for other reasons. He is going to see what kind of coin he can scrap up among the Yankee hierarchy here.
Very good. In that case, I would like some kind of roll for you. Could you give me a Ledgermain roll?
That's a 20 plus 2.
I'll get to you in a minute.
Okay.
Captain, how are you doing?
I think that Artemisia is probably hiding in Morgan's shadow, because seeing this girl, I don't know if I've ever met her or if I knew she existed, but I think seeing her does something to me.
She certainly does have certain features that remind you of Nick. Not just like the physical ones, but there's almost something of like the way she's holding herself. Like there's a confidence that you associate with Nick that she's got it.
Ouch. Oh boy. I think Morgan's just going to see her and freeze up, and then just on habit look for Thomas, and then not finding Thomas, we'll just sigh. Can I vibe check Eliza? Like, I don't. Yeah. How's she doing?
I will have you make either an assess or a nurse mental.
Okay. 17.
Okay. So you get the impression that she's holding it together because she, like, this is what she's trained to do. Like, she is there to be her father's representative, and that means a number of things, and one of them is taking over when he fucks off, which is probably a lot. So you get the impression that, like, handling hiccups is what she does. And so while the hospitality might be real and the, like, trying to get you guys at ease, it's also she is absolutely trying to suss out why the fuck you are here and how she gets rid of you in a, like, not like a violent way, but in a, okay, there
solve a problem.
Right. This is you are a problem to be solved for her right now.
That makes sense. There's something I want to do, and I know it's going to go the wrong way, and so I'm trying to figure out how to get around that. I want to see if, with the cutlass, I won't draw it, but if there's a way to, like, pull my coat back or something so that it's visible, not in a threatening way, but I want to see if she recognizes it. Because
okay.
Artemisia is hiding, like, yeah, because Artemisia is hiding, I want to kind of signal that there are traces of her father in this room that aren't her.
Okay.
That may be she'll pick up on her mom being here too.
I'm going to have her make a roll.
Oh, I don't know if I like that lean back that you just did.
So I was making a vigilance roll for her.
Uh-huh.
And her vigilance is high because she's smart and observant. And I did roll a nat 20.
Oh!
So I will say she absolutely clocks it. And she was very young when she was taken. But the cutlass draws the eye, and then her eyes go to your face. And there's like a... And then she clocks Artemisia behind you. And it looks like she is a deer in headlights for a second. Like there's some... It's a recognition that just flummoxes her.
I'll kind of approach her gently and just kind of lean in. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna lean in, and I think she'll see as I pull my scarf kind of away from my neck that there's a scar there in the shape of a pine tree. Devil's mark. And just it's one of the only things that I think maybe she would also recognize if she was small. But I'll just kind of lean in to show her that and murmur to her, your mother is a tremendously strong woman. And I think while we have a moment, she would love to meet you.
My mother is dead. Who are you?
A friend.
A friend who comes into my home armed?
Can't be too careful. I know this is a lot to take in, but traditionally this is a day of possibility, right? Of the unexplained. And I know it carries most likely a bit of wariness for you. But what if it could be a good possibility? And I kind of turn my head towards Artemisia.
I will say that Eliza looks at you, Artemisia, and takes one very hesitant step forward. And then we are going to go back over to Jake, who is lifting coin from Yankee purses. And these are people who they're wary, but they're also their focus is very much elsewhere. They feel safe about where they are, I guess. So you're able to grab several nice watches. You're able to grab several coin purses filled. Like the Yankees still use paper money as well, so you get billfolds. You can't really spend that anywhere here, but you know, among the wealthy you could. And then you go into someone's pocket and you pull out a single coin. And the way you pickpocket, you're not really looking at people or things, you just take, but there's something that feels oh so very, very familiar about that coin.
If I look at it, is this the coin that has sort of been in my possession before?
It absolutely has. And as you look at it and you feel it, you then look to the person from whom you took it. And you realize they have no fingers on their left hand. Santi, I believe you had a plan.
Yes. Santi will come up to the side of the captain. Let's go. Seems like you need a moment. You mind if I entertain the crowd?
Yeah, why not? Give him a show.
Excellent. So Santi is going to move forward through the crowd, cane clacking, on the ground with each step. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you have your own festivities, but seeing as how you're here in Bermuda, I thought it only fair that we have extended taste of our culture to you, because it is Nick's Day after all.
At the mention of Nick's Day, there is some
Oh,
but
come
then
now.
you hear one voice
Uh-huh.
say, well, we could, it is the solstice after all. We're supposed to be hospitable and generous. Let's hear him out. And then someone else says, yes, why not? And then there's more of a
I'm going to just, as I'm walking past, take someone's drink.
oh
Mighty
yes, wanted
hospitable
you to
and
have that. Yes,
yes,
of course.
of course. And I'm gonna move forward, not quite to because can't probably get on the balcony, but in that direction.
Okay.
Let me tell you a story. One where the ghosts of the past come a calling. You see, there was a man who was mighty and powerful, and he always got his way. There were those that stood against him, and they were all cut down, for he was mighty. Now, time went on. There was one in particular who always got away. Let's take a sip. But you see, this man was clever as well as powerful. And so he spoke with those closest to the elusive one. Got in their ear, promised them sweet nothings, promised them that they would be rich and powerful just like this man. And well, no one could really pass up an offer like that, not in these times. And so they killed the elusive one, did the powerful man's dirty work for him. And well, the elusive one laid a curse on them.
Curse.
Oh, yeah. You crossed the wrong man, and well, you reap what you sow. And each year, those poor souls were claimed. Year after year, no matter how hard they tried, no matter how much or how far they tried to run away, the elusive one caught them. And now, we are here on the last gambit of the last soul who hopes to get away. Well, unfortunately for him, the souls of Nick's days past are here. And the last soul and the powerful one are brought together in one place. You know the fun about this story? I don't know the ending yet, but I am looking forward to finding out. And he's gonna down the rest of his drink.
And while Santi's telling this story, can I, if I'm not going to force her, but try to guide Eliza over kind of with us? I feel like shit's going to go down.
Yeah, so she is like half. Santi, when you start talking, Eliza's sort of like half listening, but her focus is 100% on Artemisia. And if Captain, if you want to guide her, like she will go with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna just put my arm around her shoulder very loosely and try to be kind of comforting. Um, and I'll actually take off the little scarf I have that hides my mark, which anyone I'm kind of notorious, which I forgot about. So anyone that has heard tale of me would know I survived an execution.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
people are freaked out by it, and that's why I have that scar on my neck. Um, I'm gonna take the scarf I have off and give it to her, and we'll say it was Nick's, just as a comfort as I walk her over to her mother.
As she approaches, she stops a reasonable, respectable distance from you, Artemisia. And she lets out a very similar, like almost death rattle. Like her breath is catching. She says, "It's you. Who are you?"
I'm yours. I'm your mother. 25 years ago, you were taken from me as a baby, and you were taken care of by a family on the shore. It was too dangerous for a baby on board a ship. Your father was so scared that something would happen to you. And then your father was killed, and I was killed, and someone took you away. But you don't have to go with me. If this man, if your new father is kind to you and good to you, you can stay.
You can see she has 1,000 things she wants to say. She opens her mouth multiple times to start speaking. And finally, she says, "I dream about your face every year on this day. And now you're here? I don't..."
It only took 25 years. But tell me, are you safe? Are you happy? I came here thinking I would kill the man who took you from me, but I see you for who you are. Your kindness, your confidence from your father. If you're happy, I will turn around and leave.
She takes a step forward and reaches a hand up and runs a thumb along that Glasgow smile on your face. She says, "My father is a monster."
And Artemisia, without even there's no beat, there's no moment, puts out her hand for her daughter and says, "I'm sorry, I know they're cold," and will grab the hand that's offered and run.
You make for the exit. And then the doors slam just as you get there. Thomas, from your
Yes.
vantage point, you see Jake moving through the crowd.
Man,
You see him picking pockets. You see him pass through someone.
that's normal.
And then you see a figure in the corner. Her hair is long and blonde.
Oh no.
Her dress is tattered. You see the chains like barbed wire in her flesh. And she is looking right at you.
No. He just looks away from all of them, clocks everyone in the crowd. Why is everybody all split up? Okay. If you don't look at her, she'll go away. She'll just go away.
She is suddenly on the balcony with you.
If you don't look at her, she'll go away. It's fine.
You feel the coins fall onto your back. And you see two hands come down on either side of your head. And just behind your head, you hear, "The map now, boy. Real quick." The mayor, meanwhile, has been listening to Santi's story, and you see his face has just been getting redder and more twisted with rage, and he says, he's right. It was Ebenezer Greenback who ordered Captain Nick's death. Now, Greenback, you murdering cuss, get out here. And the doors that Greenback had gone through fly open. And he's not a fast mover, but he's moving with purpose. And he comes out and he puts his hands on the balustrade. Who here is trying to spoil our lovely time? Mayor Weasel. Glad you could join us. And the mayor's like, "My name is Wesley." "Whatever, I don't care. What do you want?" "I'm here to charge you with the murder of Captain Nick Santos." And the entire room goes, "Ugh." And you just see Greenback. He doesn't smile, because I don't know that the man knows how to smile, but there is a very twisted grimace on his face. And he says, I don't think that you're in any position to be making accusations of that kind, Mayor. I know that you had him killed. I know that you stole his daughter. And I know that you have the box. And Greenback's eyebrows raise. And he reaches into his vest pocket. And he pulls out just an old silver chain with what looks like a very shoddy, shabby locket on it. He sort of twirls it around his finger. He says, "Oh, you mean this little trinket?" "Yes, I have it. What of it?" "You asked me to get it. I don't know why, but..." And then the mayor coughs. And all of you who are around him see that he's feeling his throat, and he takes his hand away. And Santi, you probably have the best view of it. As I said, he's got that 3-day stubble, turkey neck,
Yeah.
It suddenly bulges out.
And
And you see the panic rising in his eyes. And his head is he's raising up, and then something very red and ropey spills out of his mouth. And then something else. And at first you think, are this man's intestines being forced out of his body? But then all of it erupts out in a very wet crack. And there's a little wooden handle coming out of his throat.
Oh.
And suddenly a mop fully pulls out of his body, and he just collapses down dead on the floor, the mop clattering on top of him. And Greenback is just looking at him. I would like everyone who saw that to make a resolve roll.
Okay.
I don't think I saw that, but I would still like to make a resolve roll because I heard
That's
everything.
Yeah, you did hear everything.
We're good.
Okay.
I failed.
All right.
I rolled exactly my resolve.
That is a success.
We're trying to roll under, right?
Equal to or under.
Oh, thank God. That's a big 3.
All right. So, if you failed, you'll take 2 points of resolve damage. So you'll subtract by 2. If you failed, or if you succeed, 1 point. And Greenback, who's just twirling this thing, is like, was there anything else from you, Mr. Mayor? No? All right, then.
He doesn't have much to say, but I still do.
At that point, it's a good line. I like that. Every window in the room shatters, just inward. Thomas, you feel hands starting to go through your pockets. Jake, you have a hand coming right for your face. You know that hand, it stole a little bit of something from you before. Artemisia, you are trying to escape with Eliza, and there are doors slamming in front of you. Captain, you see all of this, like, things just start happening, and then you see the forms come in the window. There's Ingram. There's Rudy. There's Nox. There's Aloysius. Drea's here, but I don't know that you see her. And then the last figure walks in. Artemisia and Captain, you recognize him. He looks very different. The Nick that you knew was a well-kept, very neat man. But this one has wild, flyaway white hair. His beard is big and white. His coat is red and trimmed with white. And he has a cutlass and a sleigh bell in his hand. And he rings it once, twice, 3 times, and the room erupts into violence. Captain, Thomas, and Artemisia, you will all act at the same time, so you can just sort out amongst yourself who wants to go first. Santi, you will be acting first. What would you like to do?
What are we if not going for it? I'm going to try and get Captain Santos' attention. Get Captain Nick's attention.
Okay.
Captain. We have the man behind your death. If you want him. And I'm going to try and shoot. I'm going to try and shoot Greenbacks in the leg.
Okay. So go ahead and make me a ranged roll. He does have some cover because there's like a, whatever. But you can absolutely see if you can wing him.
Alrighty. So that is a dirty 20. A slutty 20, if you will.
That will
my favorite line.
That will hit.
It's a D4 for a flintlock.
3.
Okay, so you shoot, and you hit him right in the shoulder, like and he sort of spins. So Nick will be going after you, and you say we have the man who killed you. He's right there. Bang.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a very wild look in Captain Nick's eyes. And he takes a step forward. And then he's suddenly on the balcony, right next to Ebenezer. And there's a moment where he raises that cutlass. And then Greenback, who's been shot, just spins that little locket. And suddenly Nick drops into a very defensive stance in front of Greenback.
Mm.
And Greenback says, all right, Captain. Looks like you have one more task before I put you to rest finally. Kill him. And then he disappears through the doors.
Yeah.
And I think in that moment you all realized that maybe it wasn't Nick who was cleaning up the crew. It was maybe some loose ends being tied up. Captain Morgan, Thomas, and Artemisia, it is your turn. What would you like to do?
Artemisia looks at Eliza, her daughter, very briefly and says, if you're anything like your father, you'll know your way around a gun. And I'll take out my flintlock and I'll press it into her hand and like lift up her hand, show her how to pull the trigger without pulling it, and say, if we get separated, if anything happens to you, point, aim, pull the trigger.
She has her arm out and she's like, I've known how to use one of these since I was 5 years old.
Your father's daughter.
She's got the gun out. She fires right at Rudy, shoots him right through the forehead. his form sort of collapses in on itself, and then the fog kind of recoalesces into him, but he's moving a little bit slower than he was before. Artemisia, was there anything else you wanted to do apart from passing over the gun?
If I only have the one flintlock, I'll let her take that, and I'll just pull out my knife in case someone gets close.
I'm gonna try something stupid.
I love it.
I love those.
Right. And I'm wondering if there are, a weird amount of ropes on this balcony where I can just grab one, cut the other one, and go flying off the balcony somewhere. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, we can say that the chandelier is absolutely tied near here.
Yes, please. So I would like to just kind of roll over to face, the terrifying, beautiful ghost of Drea. Yeah, I'm sorry, I gotta go. And I'm just gonna pull the rope towards me and slice it with the cutlass so that I go flying.
Okay, make me a stunt roll.
That is a 14.
Okay, good enough. So you chop the rope, the chandelier, all of you see, just plummets into the middle of the ballroom. It doesn't hit anybody, fortunately. But Thomas, you get rocketed up, and I'm going to say that you're just sort of dangling there. Now, like you're not on the balcony anymore, you are dangling up on the chandelier area. Anything else you'd like to do?
No.
Okay. Captain, Thomas is now hanging from the ceiling very precariously, cutlass in one hand, rope and gun in the other, just sort of dangling there while the chandelier has crashed to the floor. People are shooting ghosts. People are shooting old Yankees who have run away. There's a lot of chaos going on.
My blood pressure up here. Okay. In the spirit of my young crewmate, I'm also gonna try something stupid.
Good.
Can I get up there to that balcony?
If you want to make me a stunt roll, you are more than welcome to try.
I'd love to do some cool pirate shit. 13.
That is a success. So, similarly, there are curtains and drapes that you can clamber up and get onto the balcony. It's not big. It's like a speaking box, basically. So there's room for you and Nick. And as you hit the floor, Nick turns and looks at you. And if there is a recognition of who you are in his eyes, you don't see it. All you see is Kill Ghost, ready to start swinging.
That's what I was afraid of. I got this far and did not have a decision prepared. I was kind of counting on him recognizing me, but it's okay. In the spirit of making reckless decisions, I will make another one. I've known Nick since I was a bit young, since both of us were, and we never really settled down. And I think in our youth, there was a lot of competition, a lot of rival pirate shit to flirt, but neither of us would say it. I think I'm going to do something to him that I had probably done in the past, which is I will get a little bit close, and I'll kind of smile. And I'll just kind of shift my brass knuckles behind my back. So, excuse me, I need to get by you. And I'm going to punch him in the dick. In his ghost stick.
Please do.
Okay, I will roll to punch him in the ghost stick.
Yep.
Oh god, I'm so nervous. That's 17.
So please go ahead and roll damage.
Ghost stick damage.
Roll damage on the ghost stick.
That's 2 plus my athletics, which is also 2, so 4.
This is almost muscle memory, I'm going to say, since, the amount of times that you pulled this move on him and he never learned. So, boom, you punch him in the ghost stick. He doesn't double over, but what does happen is his form flickers for a moment. Like there is, like when Rudy was shot, the form like shifts, and it's like he's trying to keep himself together, and then you see more tendrils of fog like go into his form and sort of solidify him. But you get the impression that there is something you can do, like repeated dick punches would get the job done. Or regular punches or whatever.
No, there's only one kind.
Just that one.
Just that one. We have one move, but that's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Would I be able to either run around or through him while he's recorporating, like as a distraction? Is that ridiculous?
Make me another stunt roll.
Okay.
And if you succeed, you can, and if not, you'll take an opportunity attack as you pass by.
15 plus 2, 17 again.
Okay. Yep, that succeeds. So you're trying to go through the doors that Greenback went through?
Yeah, I'm trying to distract him, his guard dog, so I can go after him and get that locket.
So you get into Greenback's room, and it's like this balcony is immediately adjacent to his bedroom.
Oh.
Which is like the most opulent, nice, like there are pillows everywhere. We got overstuffed chairs. It was probably a love shack 40 years ago, but now it's just like an old man who can't really move that well. So he's just like surrounding himself in comfort. But he is not there. He's not moving that quickly, as you just saw, but there is one door to your left as you come in the room, and then the entrance to the balcony that you just walked through. And that's it. We'll deal with that on your next turn, which leaves us with Jake.
I'm going to take out my combat knife and just turn and face off with Nox.
All right, go ahead and make me a melee attack roll.
It's 16 plus 1, 17.
That hits, so go ahead and roll your damage.
3.
Maybe it's because you're the only person that has had some of that essence absorbed, and Nox was a little more tangible than all of these other ghosts. But you stab right in the heart, and you find purchase. Like, it's like you're stabbing a person. The person is there, but they're not. There's not as much resistance as you expect, because you've stabbed people before. You know what stabbing people is like. It's not as much, but you are able to stick the blade in, and you see the blood that rolls down. There is blood, and then you feel a very sharp pierce in your own chest, right where you stabbed Nox, and you are going to take half of the damage that you dealt. Because you are linked. He is you in a way.
Okay. Okay. Don't like that.
All right, so you feel the pain. You pull the knife out.
What if I take that coin and stick it in the wound for him? I was like, I'm going to give this back, and I'm just going to stick it right back into his...
Make me a stunt roll.
8.
You try and put the coin in. It hits right next to the wound and bounces to the floor. And both of your heads go down, and you have like a... as you knock heads with Nox. But the ghost is sort of like... It's been stabbed, which it didn't expect, and now it's like... So I'm going to say that Nox is not going to act next turn. Like, that's the sum total of it, is that he's a little disoriented. It is everyone else's turn, though, in terms of ghostness. We'll say that Blitz and Rudy are just laying into all of the the Yankees around. They're just massacring people who are trying to run away. Oh, and Aloysius is there too, right? He is taking the most pleasure in killing all of these people. And as they fall, you see... all of them now have black spots on their palms. Drea, however, is on the balcony and wants your map and she just sort of floats up to you, Thomas.
It's not fair.
Ghost. And she is going to make an attack against you, but it's not going to be to attack you, it's going to be to get your map. What is your reflex?
Oh, it is a 14.
She stops far enough away that you're like, she can't get me from there. And then you remember the arms that just come out much longer than they're supposed to be. And they go into your coat, and they're rifling around, well, not your coat, your shirt and your bag. And the map comes out.
How did that get there? That's so crazy.
As the map comes out of your pocket, you see this look of triumph on her face that immediately turns to pain. Her eyes go wide, and you see the hands that are grasping this map start to burn. And the fire takes both of her hands, runs up her body, and she just starts screaming as she is engulfed in flame and then gone. And the map is just sort of floating down to the ground. And that brings us to the top of the order, which is Santi.
From my grandfather, did I get anything about... Did I hear anything about a box? Or any of the treasure that was lost? Or taken? Or anything?
So the best you know is that Nick did have a secret storeroom. Your grandfather never got in there.
Right.
But that was where Nick was supposed to keep all of his, like...
His goodies.
Nice.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't particularly care about these Heartlanders, personally, but the ghosts are a problem. And, since I deal with them a lot. Well, for now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out some salt. We're just going to have that on hand.
Yes.
The gun, we're putting that away. That did its thing. We're going to take some salt and we're going to start heading upstairs to go see the greenbacks. Good old greenback.
All right. You get to the doors and you try and open them, but they are quite stuck. They weren't locked, or no one had time to lock them, but something seems to be holding them closed.
Gotcha.
So if you would like to make me a stunt roll to break the door down.
That is a 12.
That'll do it. So,
let's go.
Sandy, I think it takes one shove, and you feel the door sort of give. It's like it wants to give, but it's not. And then the second you bust the door open, and you are able to see into the foyer where you came in. There is a staircase that goes up. You don't hear any, like, the sound of movement up there. But what you do hear is people shouting, "The doors are open!" behind you.
Yeah, I'll let that chaos ensue. I'm gonna get out of the way.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah,
okay.
We're gonna move out of there before they trample me. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, very good. All right.
Yeah.
Artemisia, Thomas, and the captain.
Which of the mutineer ghost crew are still... I mean, even Rudy's still up. He's just moving slow, right?
Right.
Then I'll say whichever one is closest to me.
For the sake of drama, it's absolutely Aloysius.
Maybe while he is engaged with someone else, like, slaughtering one of the Yankees, I can go up behind him. And actually, in this case, I will just use the knife. And it's almost like a cold rush of air as I come up behind him.
You are... I'll say it's a combination of the stabbing and the sucking of the life out of him. You stab him and you take some of that energy back into you. I will say, get a resolve point. You can get one back, and you will take a health point in damage. So that it's because again, he's just this vile, terrible person, and dealing with that is a lot. But as you do that, and he's just very excitedly slashing at people. He's not trying to kill them almost. He's just maiming and wounding for fun. You stab him in the back, and he goes rigid and just falls to the floor and vanishes.
You hear Artemisia whisper very softly, "Hello."
Beautiful. Thomas, or the captain.
How far of a drop is it?
It would hurt, but you can make a stunt roll to make it hurt less.
Okay. What? So I maybe didn't see the captain, like, run past Nick, but what is Nick doing now that he's, like, reformed himself?
He is going into where Greenback was.
In that case, that was disgusting to the, woman that just caught on fire in front of me. And then I'll look down and I want to, like, swing the rope a little bit for what I can, and then swing to try to land on top of Nick with my cutlass.
Fantastic. Go ahead and make me a stunt roll for that.
So I have the little checkbox next to stunt is checked. What does that mean?
It means you get a critical success on a 19 or a 20.
Well, that sucks because I rolled an 18. But
So you fling yourself, you get the rope going, and you do in fact land on Nick's back. And he's sort of like, he's more solid than you might expect a ghost to be. Like, he has a physical presence that you can grab onto. And I will also say that as you swing, the momentum of your swing catches the map that's floating to the ground and, like, brings it with you. So it sort of lands on the ground right behind you, Captain Morgan. But Nick is there, and he's, like, trying to shed this, like, spider monkey kid that's just attached to him.
Can I blitz action swing my cutlass? Or, like, try to, like, stab down?
Absolutely, you can.
Right. 17.
Okay, that hits. Roll your damage.
Awesome. When he lands, he's just like, "Oh, hi!" and slices down, and that is 8 damage.
Damn, that's real good. So you stab into Nick, and he doesn't react. But every ghost on the floor lets out a "Ah!" And that you see all of them sort of in reaction to the stab that you dealt to Nick.
Oh! That's my turn.
Okay, Captain.
Okay. Oh, I'm so stressed.
You hear Thomas doing something stupid. We'll say that much.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I had a plan. We had a plan. And now I'm, God damn it. Okay. Do I see or hear where Ebenezer might be, or does it look like he just vanished?
Make me a vigilance check.
Okay.
He was shot, so roll that with advantage.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it. It's an 18.
Okay. So you're looking around, you're looking at the door. He didn't go there. You certainly didn't go back the way you came. And then you see a blood trail that leads to a bookshelf.
Okay. She looks at Thomas, looks at the bookshelf, looks at Thomas, looks at the bookshelf, and then look back at you one more time, and we'll just shout, "Don't die," and then we'll run off to the bookshelf.
I got this!
When you get to the bookshelf, make me a search or assess roll.
I think they're the same. They sure are. 13.
You find the book that you need to pull.
Nice.
It is a book that you think it's probably old world, like it was published before the end. It is this ancient, old book that is, you can barely read the guilt on the title, but it says, "Is us, Rawl. Cha, Dick."
Nice.
You pull that.
Yep.
and the bookshelf opens. There's just a door, and you see there's a very narrow spiral staircase that's heading down. That he's gone down.
How far down is it?
So it should be a story, but it seems to go further.
So if I jump down it, I'd be in pain.
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna do cool shit, but never mind. I'll just trudge.
Okay, so you will say the movement that you have will take you just past the first floor and down to the cellar, which is where this comes out. And you would expect it to come out in, I don't know, like a wine cellar or, a storage something or whatever. It's a sloopway. There's water.
Oh no.
And you see Ebenezer Greenback in a rowboat with multiple guards round the corner, and he is out into the open ocean.
Far enough for me? Is he far, so far where I can't yell at him?
Oh, you could absolutely yell at him.
Okay. So full of rage and probably grief that she has not processed quite yet, will shout, "Have you no hearts? You would leave us all here to die?"
Very good. Please roll.
That's a big 13. Okay.
So he's got one person on each oar and then multiple guards. It's a big rowboat, one of those fit in it. And you see them, some of them are rowing, and they start to slow down, and they're like, "Should we leave them?" And then Greenback pulls out a pistol and shoots one of them in the heart and says, "Not anymore, that one doesn't." And he has a revolver, a big old dirty hairy magnum.
Oops.
Just blows that guy away, points at the other one, another guy, and is like, "Start rowing. Make for the Lady Liberty. We have business with the Nightingale." And then they row away. That brings us to Jake.
Nox is dazed, so I can get away from him.
Yes.
I'd like to get up to the balcony, into that room as well.
Okay. Are you going out the door, or are you going up the drapes?
I'm going out the door. I'm
Okay.
hoping most of the procession has gotten out of the doorway. I'm going to go out
You're actually acting before them, so you could beat the rush.
Okay, I'm going to beat the rush, get out the doorway, and up towards Ebenezer's room and barge in the door there.
Okay. It would take all of your movement plus your blitz action to sprint up there, but you can make it there.
I see Thomas on top of Nick at that point?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yup. That's what you see.
I'm going to take out my slingshot and shoot Nick from the front.
Sounds good. Please make me a ranged attack roll. Don't hit Thomas in the face.
13 plus 2 is 15.
You needed to beat a 14. Good job.
And that is another 3.
Artemisia, you and I think you're the only one in the ballroom right now, because Santi, you've also gone out and are hiding, or you're out of the way. You're not hiding. You're out of the way. So Artemisia, you see Blitz and Rudy, both their heads rock back, and they just fall to the ground and are gone. Thomas, I would like you to make me an athletics check.
6.
Okay. So, Thomas, you've stabbed Captain Nick, and you see he's been shot in the forehead, sort of. And then his head rocks back and just gets you full in the face, and you go flying off the balcony.
Oh.
Down onto the floor below. You will take 2 points of health damage.
There's
What did I say? What did I say?
You said don't die, which is not dead.
Not dead.
Not dead, technically speaking.
Technically not dead.
Don't help him.
You right, my bad.
Jake, you are the one who sees this then. Nick sheathes his sword, looks out like he's looking beyond whatever this house is, And for cinematic's sake, Captain, you would know that Nick is looking directly at the direction that Greenback is now rowing. And Nick says, "Time to gather the crew again," and just vanishes. Yeah.
There's like 2 moments of silence and then just, oh, that sucked.
Oh, I wanted to go where go to the sloop way.
You'll run into me because I'm angrily
Right.
coming back up. I can't get to them down there.
Where was it? Where'd it go?
Motherfucker. He's on a boat.
I'm probably the last to arrive. I scooped up my map.
Thomas, you scoop up that map, and you've seen what this map looks like before. You know what it looks like. It looks different. So before, it was kind of like a map of Milton, in a way, like very shaky. This is a nautical map now.
Can I tell, like, if it's centered around something specific?
Absolutely. It's written right there. It says the Nightingale.
Yeah.
You also see there is a ship that reads the Lady Liberty. And you could swear that ship is moving on this map.
Be so for real right now. Be so for real right now.
Oh my god.
Hey, so I have good news and I have bad news. Which one do you want first?
Can you
Bad?
say both while we're walking?
Yeah, I can do both. So, one is that I'm seeing this thing move, and I hope you guys can too. Or maybe I just hit my head really, really hard when I hit the floor. 2, we might know how much time we have exactly. And I turn the map in their direction so that they can see it now.
There may still be hope for us yet. And I'm going to kind of fondly just palm the top of Thomas's head.
They got a head start. What if we had a storm on our side?
For montage's sake, you get out, the carriage is there, Eliza's like snapping fingers, people are moving quick, you get in, and it's like the most luxurious carriage you've ever seen. And you may have worried, because it was very foggy, and you were wondering, how are we going to navigate? But you don't have to. The fog has rolled out. It's a clear night. And so the horses canter off down the cobbled streets. You are very quickly brought to your vessel, which is the Taft, the Willie Taft, which has, if you'll allow me a small cosmetic, it's got a prow figurehead that is a bathtub and a very large man, like pointing very nobly to the horizon.
And on his head is it's very beaten up now, but on his head is a powdered wig that I 100% took off of someone's head, and it's been like nailed on there.
Incredible. All right, so I assume that the captain and Thomas and Jake, you get the ship ready. Like you've done you know what you're doing, so you don't need to roll for it. But I will have you make me reflex checks just to see how fast you can make this happen.
I got a 10.
22.
12.
Okay. Jake, you're maybe a little shaken because of the Nox experience and you're feeling a little tired. So you're moving at your normal pace, which is still fast, but like Thomas is a blur. Just like ropes, things, manic energy, going to direct in all directions and do everything at once. Captain, you're moving quickly, but you're like Thomas is just like rah! Which leaves Santi and Artemisia. You both have more different abilities that I think we're going to be calling on. Yes?
Artemisia,
Yes, old friend.
would you mind helping me with this? We're gonna need all y'all's help.
Always.
So, Santi pulls out a bag, grabs candles, grabs a bottle of rum, just a bunch of different bits and pieces. Funny, Oya is the Santeria Orisha of lightning. and death.
Fantastic.
So it's kind of like, he's my whole gig, my whole portfolio. That's my boy. And so we are setting up a ritual circle right under the mast, under the main mast, to summon a storm, and have him guide the storm and keep us from death at least just one more day.
So for her, it's taking in again that like low in her lungs death rattle. Like she brings in the mist rolling off the water into her lungs, and you hear the as she like releases it back. And she's parting the mist, she's controlling the mist. It's all around her.
Excellent. So between the two of you, the sky was clear when you guys started getting this ship together, but the clouds that start rolling in are clouds of violence. You know this. The winds that they are about to whip up are going to be almost as much as this old ship can take before. It's going to take some seamanship, but this crew knows what they're doing and they're very good. So as the ship slides out of dock and the sails are unfurled and they catch this wind, you feel the ship like there is a physical catch as it catches the wind and just goes. And Captain, you've been sailing with this ship for a long time. You know what this old baby can do. She's never done this before. There is something else riding in this wind that is beyond what you all have experienced. Santi and Artemisia, you are focused. That is what you are doing this entire trip. So I would like both of you to make me a resolve roll, please.
When I feel and see this happening, I'd love to kick open the captain's quarters door and kind of just gesture to Eliza if she would like to take refuge inside. I'll leave that open for her to do.
I will say the winds are whipping and her focus is absolutely not on safety. Her focus is on her mother.
Yeah.
And how did both of you do on your resolve rolls?
Oh yeah, I rolled a 2, so we're good.
Very good. So you are focusing. Artemisia, you are on one side of the mast, we'll say. Santi, you're on the other. And Artemisia, you feel Eliza kneel down next to you, and she holds out her hand and says, "Can I help?"
Fuck you, Alex. Artemisia will stretch out her hand and link her fingers with her daughter, and she'll take the cloak that she's wearing, black, tattered, looks more like a death shroud than your typical cloak, and wrap it tight around her daughter to keep her warm. And as we're sailing, we'll, very quietly teach her the way of storm making, of storm breaking.
She's the natural. It's like she knew how to do this before. She knew how to do it, and the storm only intensifies. The winds only get stronger as she adds her own power to this. I would like Jake and Thomas and the captain make me a roll. Whatever you think makes sense.
I'm gonna go with stunt.
Very good. Yep.
And I got a 15.
That's a success.
I am gonna go with persuade.
Ooh, yeah.
And I'm going to, seeing Artemisia and Eliza reunited, I think does something for Morgan's soul that she has not known was possible before this. There is a peace in this captain's finally settled heart, and I think she'll just turn to her crew, who are her other loved ones, and we'll start shouting bits of gruff encouragement to hold on to things, and just general ship instructions. I don't know what captains do.
We're doing hold fast. Fantastic.
Yeah. 15.
That's another success.
I did a tinker roll with my aptitude and just sort of trying to fix little things that he sees going wrong with the rigging and stuff to make it sail even better because it's never had this amount of force behind it.
Absolutely.
And I rolled a 12, so.
That is a success. All right, so with the captain's encouragement, the crew there is a spring in their step like they have never seen. Thomas, you are everywhere, making sure that the ropes are holding, that when something goes slack, you tighten it up. You're climbing up ropes, you're clambering all over the place. Jake, you are everywhere when one of those rods that you wrap the rope on, when that breaks, you're there to fix it. This ship is literally shaking itself apart because of the power that it is going through so fast. The water is providing such resistance that even though she's barely holding together, but you are making sure that you are coaxing every last amount of structural integrity out of this ship that you can. And so you are riding the waves, and the storm, it's starting to rain. You see the lightning, and you hear a ship's bell in front of you. Like a ding ding. And then you hear a ship's bell behind you. And Artemisia, you recognize this ship's bell. There's something unearthly wrong about it. It's this flat, distorted bong bong sort of sound. And then you hear another ship next to you, overtaking you. It's the Nightingale. She's drenched. She's been submerged for decades. There's seaweed and crustaceans and all manner of whatever happens to a ship when it's submerged. But she's sailing right next to you. And you can see Captain Nick on the ship with all of the crew. And he just gives you almost a nod. But then you see the ship in front of you. It's the Lady Liberty. And she's long, she's broad, she's got multiple decks of guns. But you are at her broadside, is what I mean to say. You are coming perpendicular to her because she's stopped. The rigging is down, the sails are down, and Thomas, you look at the map and you realize you're there. This is where you're supposed to be. And from the other ship, because you're barreling in on them very fast, you hear, "Roll out the guns!" And you see the clapboards raise up, and you see the muzzles of those iron cannons stick out. And you realize you gotta go.
Okay, since we've already got a powerful wind and we're here, can we redirect some of that? The clapboards. Wham!
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
With a small amount of effort, you've already channeled this massive tunnel of wind. The clapboards go down, and you hear the sounds of explosions, like ching ching, and then the clapboards blow out. The cannonballs streak past you, but because of those clapboards, they did not have a sight. So they're just shooting. They're sailing over you. You see a few go into the Nightingale, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't care. I would like you all to make me a stunt roll to brace yourself.
As this is happening, I'm realizing Thomas has no idea what we're doing. And was so, caught up in getting here that he still just doesn't know what we're doing. And so as we're, bracing ourselves, he's just yelling, "So what's the move, Captain? What do you want me to do?"
Oh, I don't know that. Because we're parallel, I'd love to just run up to, kind of wrap my arm in one of the ropes and brace myself against the railing and make eye contact with him and say, "Your girl is on this boat." sink us, you lose her. You are damned, Nick. She will not find you.
So the guns on the Nightingale had been run out, and you saw they were about to shoot you. And then it's an unspoken thing, but Nick runs the guns back in, and the clapboards close, and you see the Nightingale pick up speed so that you are moving exactly parallel. And you realize you're going to be hitting aft, he's going to be hitting fore, and you're both going to be smashing into this fucking warship. How did everyone else do on their stun roll? If you failed, you're just going to take a point of health damage as the ships collide into the Lady Liberty, and there's a shudder, and you hear that warship almost snap as the forces of it bend it in such a way that the side of it breaks open, basically. And for cinematic purposes, the William Taft in the bath goes straight into the captain's quarters, so that Ebenezer Greenback, who has been sitting in the captain's quarters, just sees Taft pointing very sternly at him.
This is the best thing that could have come of this joke.
This is incredible.
And you see that Nick and his crew have started to board. And they are starting to kill everyone on that ship. What would you like to do as you are on the other side of, you're at the back of the ship now?
Cool. Where's Ebenezer? Do we see him?
Yeah, I am clambering into the bathtub to get into the captain's quarters.
Yes, we will say that the damage that you did opened the ship up enough that you can see him scrambling to get away, to get out onto the deck, basically.
Okay. I want that locket.
And when I see them running, I will shout after them, "Leave him alive. He's Artemisia's."
For flavor, I would also like to take the flintlock pistol that I have no idea if it will fire or not. And once I get inside, just aim it at him and say, "Don't move!" And I just want to set that up for Santi coming in next.
I'm going to get up onto the deck. I am going to go... There's got to be some money on this boat, right?
Oh, yeah, there's a ship's chest that, you got to pay your sailors. I mean, you don't pay them well, but there are a lot of them, so you still have to pay them.
I mean, I figure there's got to be something here that I'm going to snoop around to find that on the ship here.
Make me a search roll. Artemisia, what would you like to do?
Can I go with my daughter to fucking hunt down Greenback?
Absolutely. The look on both of your faces, I assume, is the same. There is a similar... we are going to go kill this man. So you will cross over to the bridge, or to the deck of the ship, along with Santi. Thomas, you're in the captain's quarters. Make me a luck roll.
I would love to. My luck is even, and I rolled a 16.
Okay. So you say, "Don't move." You have the gun pointed at him. He stops, turns around, and he's got this locket still. And you see him start to reach into his vest pocket.
There's a very, not confident poke of the gun, forward. I said don't move!
He is not stopping.
I think Thomas waits until he sees the gun, revealed, and then I'll fire. I don't know if it's gonna work.
Well, that's what that luck roll was.
Oh, amazing. Okay. The flintlock pistol that Thomas stole off of someone and had literally no idea if it worked or not, fires to his surprise, and I will shoot him preferably, in the arm that he was reaching for the gun with. or shoulder.
There's a billow of smoke. And then you hear Lincoln's beard as a body hits the deck. Artemisia and Santi. That is when you come on board and you see him crawling out of the captain's chambers. He's got the locket. He's muttering something to himself, but he's clearly, desperately trying to get out to safety. But he's very hurt right now.
Eliza and I will approach, and because I assume because he's crawling, like he's not making a lot of headway.
No.
I want him to know that it's us. And, you know, I'll gesture to Eliza, my daughter, and, you know, have the flintlock pistol put in my hand. Bend down, not quite so we're on a level, but so that there's no mistaking, and he can see that it's me. Like tilt up his face so it's looking at me, and I say, apologize.
He spits in your face.
I'm gonna crack him with it. Buffalo him on the back of the head with my flintlock. No, you don't get the easy way out. I'm not letting my temper get the best of me here. Apologize.
He looks up at you.
Not to me. To her.
He looks at Eliza. He says, kill her. Artemisia, make me a reflex save.
17.
Nick is suddenly behind you. And behind Eliza. And his saber is going for her back. But you take that staff and you whip it up. And you prevent her from being skewered right through the back. Santi, what would you like to do?
Give me the locket. I want it.
How would you like to take it?
We're going full storm, you know, so just wind, give it. Just yank it out of his hand.
All right, just spend a resolve point and we will have that happen.
Done and done.
All right. The locket flies out of Ebenezer Greenback's hand and into yours, and in that moment you feel all of the anguish and sorrow that Captain Nick feels. Being made to almost kill his daughter. Being made to almost murder the people that he loves.
Be still.
We'll come back to that in a moment. Captain Morgan.
Knowing that Artemisia will secure this vengeance on behalf of herself and her daughter, she can hear the clashing of swords and the screaming and the, firing of pistols and everything coming off the other boat. But she is just kind of kneeled on the ground, holding a daguerreotype photo of a younger version of her and a younger version of Nick. And she's just got the saber in her hand, and she's just sobbing. And I think she'll just, unless there is an opportunity where she can run to join the fray, I think she's just there.
Okay. Jake, what did you get on your search roll?
I got an 8.
Okay. So you're trying to get to the hold where you think the money is. And you round a corner in the ship, and you see there is a cannon that has been unlimbered and maneuvered so that it is pointed directly at you. And there is a Yankee naval officer with his gun crew, and he says, "Fire!" And the hammer of the gun goes down, but it doesn't spark because there's a finger in there. And then you see 4 more fingers come out of nowhere and just start jabbing eyes, poking at people's eyes, and they're fighting, and then you see Nox behind you, and he says, "Third door on the left. Get the good stuff."
Nox, you brilliant smuggler, you. I love you, pal. And he runs down to the third door on the left, and he throws it open just to see what it is.
It's packed with gold. It's more money than you've ever seen in your life. That said, this ship is sinking.
He fills his baldric with as much as he can, just stuff, and he's like putting names on every like little compartment here. So he's like for the captain and for Thomas, and he's just stuffing things in. He's like, Ebenezer's not gonna know what hit him, and he folds it all down, and then he just takes it out. He comes back into the thing, looks to the left to see if Nox is still there, and he takes one of his coins and flicks it just to give it to Nox, wherever he might be.
The fingers catch it. And then they bring it back to Nox, who gives you a...
And then he just runs back up to the deck.
Okay, I will just have everyone roll me a d20. This is for how much coin that we are going to put into Jake's possession.
15.
150, okay?
Nat 20, baby.
200.
Okay, I got 13.
130, so we're at
9.
480.
I got a nat 20 as well.
Let's go.
680. Okay, and Jake, what'd you get?
I got 6.
Okay, so you have 740 coin on your person to distribute as you see fit. Up on the deck, with the locket no longer in his possession, there is a change that comes over all of the ghosts that you can see. All of them had the marks of how they had died. You know, Rudy was part wood. Nox was dribbling water everywhere. Drea was vomiting coins. Nox, I guess when he catches the coin, it is with his fingers on his left hand, which have been fully restored. And Nick looks exactly like he did in life. Handsome, well put together, short hair, short beard, and he looks happy almost. But Greenback is like doing the same thing the mayor did at you, Santi. He's like trying to climb up you and get at that locket. It's like, yeah, it's mine. Give it back.
Bonk.
Ah.
Not anymore.
Well, what are you gonna do with it?
The right thing. You have an apology to make. Sit down.
I will say, Captain, you've heard the sounds of fighting stop or die down. And Jake,
Okay.
if you want to also, all of us sort of meet here on the bridge, you can, or on the deck, you can.
I think that Morgan will eventually come out of it to hear the silence, and that's not good. That's worse than the fighting sounds. So she'll take Nick's saber and just not even put the picture back on the wall, just drop it and keep running for her family that's still with us.
Beautiful. As the daguerreotype falls, it was of you and Nick when you were younger people. But as it hits the floor, it's you as you are now. And Nick as he was right before he died. And then you're on the deck.
Thanks. Ow. I'm frantically, rabidly, I am looking for Jake. I'm looking for Thomas. I'm looking for Santi. I'm looking for Artemisia. Like, these are my people.
You see them surrounding Greenback, who's like on the deck, sitting, clearly beaten. You also feel that the ship is starting to settle in a way that means it's not long for this above water world.
Okay. I'll join the little execution circle.
Oh, is that what we're calling it?
I mean, I feel like we gotta give
Yeah.
it a fun name.
Mm-hmm.
I will
Captain,
join it.
thanks for joining.
Yeah, I figured we should all bear witness. I will wordlessly pass my saber in the direction of Eliza and Artemisia and just hold it out if anyone wants to take it.
Artemisia will pick it up, like test the weight of it in her hand, look at Greenback, look at Eliza, and look intently at Greenback and say, I don't think we need anything more from you, actually. Eliza, darling, is there anything that you need?
She reaches into her bodice and pulls out a piece of paper and says, "Sign it." And she gestures at Greenback. And he looks at her. "Well, what exactly is this?" "Your will." "Leaving everything to me and my friends." He's like, I don't have a pen." And she leans in real close, takes out a little hairpin, sticks him in the finger, and says, "Now you do." And with a very shaky hand, he signs it in blood.
And with that, Artemisia momentarily looks a little worried about Eliza, but kind of pushes that down, pushes that away. Artemisia herself is not without violence. So she'll turn to the captain, gesture for Eliza to come back to her. And, her finger is on the trigger of the flintlock, but then she tosses it in the air and catches it. She's got the cutlass in the other hand. And she hands them to Captain Morgan and says, "Perhaps this is your turn. We've gotten what we need."
She will very shakily take them. When I look up, are all of the ghosts gone or are they still here?
They are still here.
Okay. I will reach for Nick. And then I'll reach for Rudy and gesture for them to come close.
They both do.
Honestly, any of the crew that's up here, because I know Nox is still downstairs, but
well, Nox has also showed up.
Oh,
they're all gathered here together, just like we are.
Yeah, I will gesture for them to join us, and then I will step onto Ebenezer's chest, and I will carve into his throat the execution mark I have on my neck. I'm going to carve it non-lethally, and I would love to leave him to drown.
Okay. Absolutely, we can do that. Are we tying him to the mast?
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Once that is done, I think Nick approaches you, Santi. "May I know what you're intending to do with that?" And he looks at the locket.
I think as they've been dealing with Greenback, Santi's been trying to intuit exactly how it works. And like, if I would just need to destroy it and what would happen, like if I were to do that, like just sort of thinking on it, sort of.
Yeah, I'm not going to make you roll.
Up to it.
Okay. I think you have the connection enough that, like, manipulating it, that Greenback did some sort of ritual or had someone do some sort of ritual that bound Nick to this locket.
Mm-hmm.
And so destroying it would break whatever is holding Nick and the crew here. Keeping it would mean that Nick is continually bound to it. And whoever has it has control over his fate, basically.
Well, actually, I think that's actually up to you. Do you want rest? Or would you like to use this for a different purpose?
If you're offering it, I would gladly take it. I have some unfinished business of my own.
And God knows we could use a symbol back out on these waters. Be the master of your own fate again. I'm going to give him the locket.
With a nod, Nick takes it. And as he does, you see it sort of meld into his hand. And he becomes far less spectral when this happens. The ship, the Nightingale, no longer looks like a submerged wreck that has been brought back up. And when Nick turns, he is fully back in the flesh. And he looks at Artemisia, and he looks at Captain Morgan, and he says, "I've missed you both so much."
I think Morgan's just going to slide behind Artemisia and Eliza and then just kind of nudge them forward closer to him a little bit. Just like a little playfully.
And I think mostly silently, because how do you have words that can convey that kind of feeling? Artemisia will present her husband with his daughter.
I cannot wait to find out about you, he says. You've already done a fantastic job, all of you. And he looks around, and the rest of his crew have also remanifested. Everyone but Benton. He didn't make it. And he says, well, all of us, we seem to need a crew to sail. Do you have any openings?
You.
I was gonna say Thomas just slow turns and looks at the camera.
Can you imagine if I said no?
Just like actually,
yeah.
We've actually got a hiring freeze going on right now.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to interview. I don't.
My people call your people.
If we don't ghost you.
Ooh, ouch.
I'm gonna be thinking about that for the rest of the day. I think Morgan will sort of like laugh a little under her breath, like, I could use a first mate, Nick.
He has a captain's hat, and he sort of like pushes it up at a jaunty angle and is like, well, if you'd allow me to submit my references.
Yeah, I'll take a look.
And then he turns to Artemisia and says, I know it's been a while, but perhaps we could start again?
She nods and for the first time genuinely smiles, and underneath that Providence smile, the scarring, the destroyed tissue of her face, you actually do see her genuinely smile.
Nick is back. The Yankees are probably not going to be sticking around much longer. Their power is broken. No. Eliza is in charge of that fortune, and we know what she's going to do with it. What does Artemisia get up to?
She spends the next few years, not only with her daughter Eliza, but with Nick as well, doing that thing where you sort of re-fall in love with the person that you once had loved, and trying to learn each other again, but this time in a way that is a little bit more mature, since Artemisia was so young before when they were together. And with her daughter, she spends, the rest of the time that they have, teaching her more about sailing, about ships, and about how to control the mist and the sea. Because, even though Nick has returned, it doesn't, and correct me if this would be wrong, but it doesn't seem like Artemisia has returned to the way that she was. So does she still have, is she still a ghost?
We'll use movie logic and say that you have been fully brought back to this plane of existence by these events. You are no longer one foot in either world. You are fully back along with Nick.
So in that case, I think she, in addition to kind of teaching her daughter the things that she knows, she does perhaps long for that world beyond the veil a little. So when she has time to herself that's not with her husband or her child, I think she does set out for stranger waters.
I think Captain Morgan is a menace on these waters. As much as she loves to give Thomas shit for raising her blood pressure, she is not exactly the coolest of cucumbers. I think, especially without the threat of arrest being so heavy, goes out sailing again, plundering again, where possible. But she also takes time when she can on land to visit Nick's family. Just kind of really awkward, never really, even as the years go by, she never really seems comfortable. But she tries. She'll also spend time with Thomas, a lot more than probably before, just making sure you feel seen. I think Rudy really sticks with Morgan, even though she never said it. And so she takes a lot of time, like making sure you know what to do with this ship in case it becomes yours one day. And then she'll sit with Jake and entertain retiring into smuggling, which is not retiring, and you know that. But she will talk to you about what you get up to, and help you where she can. And then Santi, she will leave you bottles to do your rituals with, and she'll try to collect ones from as far off as she can. And knowing everyone is somewhat secure, I think she just kind of, when fog rolls in, she disappears. When fog rolls back out, she comes home.
Jake and Knox become the most notorious duo of smugglers in the Heartlands. They go on multiple buddy adventures where they just hear of a treasure that needs to be taken, and they know that they're the guys to do it. So both Knox and Jake become like, it's like Knox and Marley is their branding, and they are the smugglers to call if you have a job to do.
Since there is a position, vacant, Santi runs to be the mayor.
Oh, and absolutely wins. No question about
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So with him in place and with Eliza, controlling the fortune of those Yanks, I think like we work on making Bermuda like ours. Like we will set up a system of bureaucracy and red tape, and you're gonna go by our rules, and if you don't, we will send the ghost ship after you. I mean, definitely securing, and it's his mayorship is both for the living and for the dead, since he can see both. So like, since this place is haunted, we might as well lean into that. So we recognize our ghost brethren and treat them as our own, because goodness knows if you don't, they might, come in a fog and eat your entire soul. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think Blitz definitely makes up for being a Weasley little bastard, and is like the most loyal to the crew. Yeah, to a fault. Like, like we'll follow orders no matter what. Until the day he dies again.
Thomas follows the captain loyally, for as long as the captain will allow, but also gets into like as much trouble as he can. Not intentionally, none of it. Nothing is intentional. It's just always trouble. I think he picks up some thievery techniques from Jake. He is absolutely terrified of Santi and Artemisia in like the best way. To the point where it's just like in awe when they're around. But I don't think he even like he doesn't ask. He's like, I don't even want to know how you did what you did. We're good. Kind of their biggest fans in a way. And I think one morning or evening, sometime when he can catch her alone, he finds Drea. And we just see him set the map down, like in front of her on the desk, and he says, I don't really need this anymore, so I think maybe you should have it. You kind of wanted it a lot more than me. Turns out, maps can also be haunted.
All right. Well, that was our Backchannels Crossroads Holiday Spectacular. Thank you to this amazing cast for joining me on this journey. I had a blast. I hope you all enjoyed yourself. I hope you watching enjoyed it. And yeah, maybe we'll see the crew of the William Howard Taft sometime again. Who knows?
She rises way, she rises way, she rises early in the morning, putting it on both theory.
I'm the only one not cornered. You have a child.
Yeah, that's
you
what I'm
have
thinking of.
You have a horrible predicament with a ghost woman.
She rises way, she rises way, she rises early in the morning.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right.
What will you do with a drunken sailor? What will you do with a drunken sailor? What will you do with a drunken sailor early in the morning?
Can't believe we both fucked Santa, VJ.
Morning, put him in a longboat till he's sober. Put him in a longboat till he's sober. Put him in a longboat till he's sober early in the morning.